Alright guys, hello, how's everybody doing? My name is Lewis Gardog. Um, or that's what my YouTube name is. But pretty much today I got this webcam, which is pretty much like the last piece that I need within my puzzle piece to conclude a decade-long search of building my most absolute fitting setup to my liking. It's taken me a decade pretty much because I've never really focused on buying and upgrading stuff for this setup. It's more so as it comes. I buy it if I don't know, I just buy it whenever I feel like it, and it's spread out through the span of 10 years. So that's why it took me so long, and I do want to admit that this setup that I'm fixing to walk you through, it's not expensive by any means, so sorry to crush your dreams, but there's nothing fancy about it. It's just that I've tweaked everything to the absolute perfection to where pretty much the point that it runs as good as modern higher end PCs that a lot of people pay a lot of money for, primarily because of my stuff, like I mentioned, is tweaked and overclocked. Like, for example, my GPU is overclocked to the point that it's amazing. A lot of people don't even know how to overclock their 3080s or 3090s, which is interesting. We'll say that, but we'll just quickly go over my operating system and just go over my actual hardware and software. So we'll go ahead and get started with my actual primary operating system, which is Ubuntu 20.04. As you can see, I have a 1050 Ti, which is good enough for gaming. I do a lot of Valorant and League of Legends, but primarily I use pretty much my computer. I only do programming on it. I like programming. You can tell. And one thing that I do want to bring up in particular is my terminal. I can promise you that you will never see a terminal better than mine. Maybe you will, so I can't even make that promise, but one thing that I do like about my terminal in general, as you can see right now, I'm using NeoFetch to display all of my specs. But I did use Oh My Posh version 3 to configure just like how my terminal looks in terms of like all the colors and stuff. And one of the fancy alias scripts that I did add into my bash terminal is hi. If you type in the word hi, it updates, upgrades, auto removes, and just cleans everything necessary, or not necessary but appropriate at the time. So like it just did all that, and then it cleared out the terminal. And as you can see, I do have my machine learning Anaconda environment, and I can actually deactivate that by just typing that in, and it will go to the base environment. And then this squiggly line just means that I'm currently in my home directory, and so I can actually just easily switch directories by just pretty much doing that, but or using those Linux commands. But that's not the whole point. That just pretty much highlights my actual terminal, and now we can actually switch off to my actual hardware. So let's go do that, and before I forget, let's make the screen big so you guys can see my face and my camera. So okay, so I have hot hair, so I'm sorry. So let's go ahead and get started. So within my hardware, just like all my external stuff, I have a Logitech webcam. I don't know the specific model, but I know that it's 1080p, and I'm currently recording at 30 FPS. I know the monitor that I currently have is an HP Omen 25 inches with 2K resolution at 1 millisecond response time. So there's that. In terms of my headphones, I have the Bose Quiet Comfort 35s. They are amazing. I used to have the Bose Quiet Comfort 35s, and then I upgraded to these. And they're amazing. I actually have the Bose Quiet Comfort 700s in my backpack, which I use them for school. But they're amazing in terms of noise cancellation. I'm not too sure about the audio quality, if that's something you're into, but if you're into primarily just like noise cancellation, they are easily the best out there. There's no beating them. And then Switching over to my keyboard, I have an Ant Pro 2. It has Gateron brown switches, so they're not too loud and they're actually kind of soft whenever you type on them. And I'll go ahead and show you. It's a 60% keyboard. So there's that. And then in terms of my mouse, I have a G305. It is a wireless mouse. It's pretty much the best you can get for $30. It's not bad. I have a SteelSeries mousepad. It's pretty nice for the gaming that I do, which is just pretty much Valorant and League of Legends, or whenever I get around to it. I mean, it just depends. And I guess I'll just show this stuff. That's stuff that I have over here. This is Samaritan. I call it Sam. It is a Jetson Nano, the 4GB, the NVIDIA. It is the NVIDIA Jetson Nano 4GB model. There you go. It's a lot better. And in terms, oh, I didn't even notice, but that's a lot better. So it's pretty much a computer that I use just for AI stuff. Eventually, it'll be used to do ethically good things for people, I guess. And I'll eventually scale up into like a much larger computer, but for right now, this computer does perfect. It's perfect because these are 2K cameras each, so I guess you could say it's 4K, but that's not really how it works. But in terms of just like the connections and everything, it's perfect because it has a display port, it has HDMI, it has Ethernet, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Thunderbolt 3.0. It has pretty much everything you need to, and you can run it off a battery pack or you can run it off of an actual power source, so that's pretty nice. And so that pretty much concludes that. I have a lot of Rubik's cubes because I do like solving them. This is just a simple 3x3. But I do have a pyramid, and then I do have a 5x5, and then I do have one that's called like a, I don't remember what it's called, that model right there. But pretty much that concludes my setup. The TV that I have right here, it's the second monitor that I have is actually a TV. Nothing special to it. It's just great because I can set it up vertically to where I can use it for development. But that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I don't know when the next time that I'll post. So see you guys later.